Today's topic is how to avoid getting your signs stolen. And this is Tips with Trev, the show where I give developing baseball players some easy tips to end their slumps faster and become a superstar sooner. Let's do it. All right, if you've been paying attention to baseball at all recently this year, you know that sign stealing has become a hot topic, and I'm going to teach you how to not get your signs stolen. Okay, so this is going to range from super simple to pretty in-depth, kind of heavy-handed. So let's start off with the very simple. Tip number one, use multiple signs. So when the catcher's putting stuff down, don't just put one and have it be a fastball. Maybe you want to have 1, 2, 3, 1 as a sign sequence, and you can choose, let's use the second sign. 1, 2, that might be a curveball. Okay, so that's the first thing. You can use multiple signs. You can even change up what the signs are. So 1 usually means fastball, but it might not mean fastball. Maybe 1 is a curveball because that's your best pitch. And maybe 2 is a fastball away, and 3 is a fastball inside if you're a 2-pitch pitcher. That could be a possibility. But just use multiple signs, okay? So just make it a little bit more difficult where the person on second base trying to steal the signs or whoever's watching with illegal cameras or putting stuff into an algorithm, at least make it work, all right? Make it struggle a little bit to pick it up. Don't just be obvious with one sign. So that's the very first thing. For young kids out there with no illegal technology around stadiums and all this different stuff, all you have to worry about is the guy at second base looking in and saying, 1 is a fastball, so now I can signal to my hitter. All right, that's step number 1. Step number 2 is roving signs. And roving signs are something that changes based on the game situation or the count situation or something like that. So let me give you a couple examples. You might go ahead and do outs plus 1. So if there's 0 outs, that's 0 plus 1, that would be 1. That's the first sign. So I would give multiple signs, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1. First sign is 1, so whatever sign number 1 is, if it's fastball, it's a fastball. If it's a curveball, it's a curveball. Now, when there's a second out, when there's a first out of the inning, I should say 1 out, there would be 1 out, that's 1, plus 1 would be 2, so now the second sign is the indicator. And so if I say 2, 3, 1, 2, 1, then 3 is the second sign, and so whatever pitch 3 corresponds to would be the pitch. All right, so that's one way you can go about doing it. Another one, you might rove based on the number of the hitter. It could be, if the hitter's number is odd, it could be second sign. If the hitter's number is even, it could be third sign or something like that. That way it's changing when a new hitter steps in the box. It could be the number of people on base. If there's no one on base, it's first sign. So people on base plus 1 or plus 2. Let's say we're doing people on base plus 2. 0 people on base, it might be the second sign. If there's 2 people on base, it might be the fourth sign. So there's different ways to go about that they would change through an inning, so it wouldn't be super obvious to the people that are on second base what the signs are. You can also change these up inning to inning if you're really, if someone's really trying to steal your signs. The first inning, it might be one set. The second inning, it might be another set. All right, that's tip number 2. Tip number 3, we're going to make it a little bit more complicated. We're going to use touches and signs. So touches might be location. So the catcher's down, he might touch his knee, shoulder, face mask. Like these positions might be down and away. Let's say his right knee is down and away, left knee is down and in, face mask is above the strike zone, left shoulder is up and in, right shoulder is up and away. So he might go through and it might be the last place he touches would be the location, and then he could give some roving signs, and then that would be the pitch. Or maybe he's touching locations on his body that correspond to the pitches, and then the numbers he's giving could be the location. So let's say that my face mask was change up, and so it's the last sign that I touch on my body and I go change up, and now I want it below the zone, and I know that if I want to chase change up, we're going to use 2 to signal chase, and we're going to use 1 to signal strike. It might be the last sign I touch on my body and the last sign I give. So I go through my signs, changeup. Now I go and I give it, and we're going to have a chase changeup, and it might be 3, 3, 2, 1, 2. 2 corresponds to chase, and now I know it's a changeup for a chase. So that's a little bit more complicated way of doing it. You can also have different parts in your body correspond to different signals or different sequences of signs. So I might touch my face, that might be strikes +1. I might touch my shoulder, that could be last sign. I might touch my right knee, that could be, third sign, or follow the 3, something like that. So there's different ways that you can incorporate touches and signs. And if you're still worried that those are getting picked, if you have a super genius on second base that is just locked in and knows all your different signs, well, here's another good one, the last tip, or I guess it's kind of the last tip. The most sophisticated way of doing it is to signal the pitches from the mound and have the catcher put down a bunch of dummy signals. And that way everyone's looking at the catcher and saying, okay, trying to figure it out, but the signs don't even mean anything. So this might be, if you have the ball in your hand, it's one pitch type. If you have the ball in your glove before you get on the mound, it could be a different pitch type. It might be if you clean the rubber off, swiping it to the left with your right foot, it's you want the pitch on that side of the plate. If you're cleaning it off with your left foot, swiping to the right, you might want the pitch on this side of the plate. If you catch the ball and you turn around towards your arm side, it could be a fastball. If you catch the ball and turn around to your glove side, it might be a breaking ball. There's different ways. Pitchers do this all the time where they at least give the catcher an idea of what they might want to throw. And then usually what happens is the pitcher gives the catcher an idea, and the catcher puts down the sign and confirms that he's on the same page, that he got the signal. So there's you can do it with your tongue. I've heard of that one before, where if you lick your lip on the bottom, it's one thing. If you lick your lip on the top, it's another pitch, if the catcher can see that. Maybe, if your mouth's open, that's one pitch. If your mouth's closed, that could be another pitch. There's a lot of different ways to do this, but you can actually signal to the catcher what you want to throw from the mound, and you can make it subtle enough where no one's going to be able to pick that up. And even if they do, you can just change it. One inning, mouth open might be fastball. The next inning, mouth open might be curveball. You can change these up. So if you go through all these things and you still have signs being stolen, you're either tipping pitches or you're playing the Astros. So, I don't know what to tell you in that situation. Maybe they just have code breakers that take all of these tips and make them useless. But for the vast majority of people, you're not playing the Astros, and they don't have code breakers and dark arts and stuff like that. So you're going to end up not having your signs stolen. One thing I did want to bring up, I was having a conversation recently with an NFL player, and he says on defense they have headsets, and one person has a headset and can communicate to the rest of the people on the defense what he's hearing in his headset. So what do you guys think? Do you think that would be okay for baseball if the pitcher or the catcher had some sort of communication where the pitcher may put his glove over his face and say fastball in, and the catcher in his headpiece could have it and just know, so we didn't even have to give signs? Do you think that would be good? Would you want to do that? Would you want to see that in baseball? Should baseball explore some of those different options? Let me know in the comments below what your thoughts are on that. So just to recap, because that's today's episode on sign stealing, the 4 things that you can do to limit your signs being stolen. 1, use multiple signs. 2, use roving signs. 3, you can use touches and signs. And 4, you could call the pitches from the mound using body language. So if you like this video, if you found any value in it, even if you didn't, let me know below, leave me a comment, questions, concerns, whatever. Drop a comment down there. Like this video, that would help me out a lot. And if you haven't already, subscribe. Let other people know that this channel exists. I make these videos to try to help you guys out and connect with my fans. So if there's anyone you think that's looking for baseball tips, or that would want something answered, or just could find value in something that I'm doing, please let them know this channel exists. It would really help me get to my goal of 100,000 subscribers by the end of 2020. And on that note, thank you all so much for watching as always, and I will see you on Friday.